I've released over 300 songs, which is pretty crazy to say. And as you can imagine, there's a tremendous amount of things I've learned after releasing so many records, seeing how they performed, and a lot more. So in this video, I'm talking about the 5 big things I've learned. And I might as well even say, when it comes to advice, especially looking back on it, here are the 5 things I really wish I knew, especially before releasing music. Number 1, you don't pick what you're famous for. This is a big one because I make a lot of different styles of music. And in the beginning, I was releasing different records. My first one that ever got some attention, I'll say, is a song called Bassfire. It was a dubstep style song. And at the time, I was making more like Moombahton, some kind of like heavy Moombahton, like Moombacore, or I called it Moomba Step. And it was kind of like a one-off song I did just kind of for fun. Like I was messing around with different sound design and whatnot. And I remember people thought that at that point, because I started to become known for Bassfire, that Ficero, my artist, was a dubstep artist, right? And this is true in a lot of different instances. Right now, my most popular song, which will be it will be a reoccurring theme throughout this video just because it is my most famous song, is a song called St. Patrick's Day. That song's what I'm known for. And the crazy thing is, it was kind of a one-off thing I did, kind of like a big room house Irish-style song. And the thing is, at the end of the day, I think when you're releasing music, if let's say you do a one-off, like you make a song in a different genre or style that you maybe you're just doing for fun, keep in mind, you don't pick what you get known for. The crowd does, the public does, social media does, the market, as some entrepreneurs call it. That's what happens. And if you're making a lot of different styles of music, I'd almost go into it with this mentality of, okay, would I be mad that the next song I'm going to release, would I be mad if that was a song that blew up? Would it be a bad thing if that song blew up? Now, granted, I'm not saying to not make songs in different styles. I'm not saying to experiment. I'm not saying to, always stay in the same exact lane, because that might get boring. But keep in mind, and this is a big thing that sounds very almost beyond Captain Obvious, but it's something that I learned, again, after releasing over 300 songs, is you don't pick which ones you're known for. And there are some songs, and every musician, I think any kind of creator in anything has dealt with this, where you put a ton of work into this one thing, right? This happens to me a lot on YouTube, actually, where I put a lot of work into one thing, and it goes okay. And like, oh man, I really love this thing I was working on, this video, this song, whatever it is. Didn't really do that well. But then I make this one other thing for fun, or as a joke, or something that maybe I didn't put that much effort into, kind of like a low effort thing just for fun, and that blows up. And then people look at me as that guy, or that creator, or that musician, that artist, that whatever, right? Like some people look at me as, I even had people say to me, even friends, not in a mean way, but say, hey man, I feel like I see your songs have gotten pretty popular, like on TikTok especially, but it seems like you almost kind of make like meme music. Like you make songs just meant to kind of throw in a video and that's it. They're not really like songs. I'm not saying you're a bad musician, but they're not songs. And my thing is like, well, I do have a lot of songs that are genuinely well-crafted. I'm a former classical pianist and jazz saxophonist, with a lot of music theory. I've made a lot of songs with a lot more depth to them, but I don't pick what I'm known for. I don't pick what people look at Ficero is. The people do. And keep in mind, any single time you release something, you don't decide what you get known for. The listeners do. Number 2, people do judge a book by its cover. I've done some testing where I took a song, everything's the same, title, everything, but the album artwork is a little bit different. And there's vastly different results with that same song. Me doing like what's called A/B testing in the marketing world. Hate to say it, but 2 big things when it comes to your song, besides just the song, of course, your title and your album artwork do go a long way. And especially when it comes to, like, say, something called CTR or click-through rates when it comes to marketing, same thing is true with your song. I think a lot of musicians don't like to think of it like this. But remember, you as an artist is a business, your product is your music. Whether you like it or not, your business. And I think some artists don't like to think of it like that. They're like, oh, well, I just want to be a creative and create stuff and whatever. But at the end of the day, you're a business. And I think, not saying you have to, hire a team or spend a ton of money to have this mind-blowing album artwork that people will see it from a mile away and want to click on it to listen to your song. but it does have a pretty drastic effect. And I will say this, that, again, after releasing so many records, hundreds of records, I've noticed that the more clickable, like say the album artwork is, the way better my song does. Love it or hate it, just the reality of the situation. The second thing though, which is even bigger than that, is the title. I've done a lot of videos on this channel about marketing. I have a huge list of marketing videos listed below in the description that I suggest watching after this video, because marketing is important. And one part of that is your title. And take that song, St. Patrick's Day, like I talked about in the first point. Well, if I call that song Top of the Morning, or Have a Pint with Me, or I don't know, something like that, I don't think that song would have had a percentage or smudge of the attention my song has had, because I literally titled my song when I released it St. Patrick's Day. This was in like 2018 or whatever, and I was like, you know what, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. What if I made a song combining like Celtic and Irish music with electronic music? I feel like I've never really heard a song like that. Made it, and like I said, literally titled the song St. Patrick's Day. And the way this blew up was actually through TikTok in 2021. So sometimes, as a mini kind of side note, you never know when a song is going to blow up. It took 3 years of almost no traffic. Didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, oh, I just made this for fun, whatever. And boom, 2021 blew up on TikTok because people were making videos about St. Patrick's Day, trying to do like a viral, timely thing, because, every St. Patrick's Day people do like makeup videos or drinking videos or partying videos or whatever. And people would go to add a song. And on TikTok, they would literally type in St. Patrick's Day under the music section. I'd be the number one hit. And then things kind of spiraled from there. And what's crazy is, I'm not saying that song's a bad song per se. I also don't think it's anything mind-blowing. Like, it is kind of mainstream-ish sounding if I'd word it like that. But here's the thing. Again, the album artwork looks very Irish. You could pick it out from a mile away with the green coloring and everything. And in addition, with the song title, like I said, if I title that, I think anything else, like, I don't know. Again, like I said, Top of the Morning, some kind of cliche, whatever, I don't think it would have had any success at all. It's just because the title, something called search engine optimization, I might even say, or SEO, the SEO of that title worked really well in its favor. There's another song that's actually right now, at the time of this video, my most popular song on TikTok, ironically, is Lionel Messi. There's been a lot of times when I'm out in public, and this is true, that I get told I look like Messi, the famous football player. I get this all the time. So I was, let me make a song that's kind of like a blend of electronic music with like world music and a football style anthem that could be played in a stadium if someone's playing football or whatever. That was my mindset when making the song. Did not think anything of SEO. I just called it Lionel Messi. That song gets a ton of attention and traffic because people will make a song, or excuse me, make a video or whatever about Messi, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok, Instagram, wherever. They go to add a song, they just type in Messi under the search bar, boom, that song pops up. Love it or hate it, a lot of people do judge a book by its cover, and having good album artwork that's very clickable and eye-catching, and also a good title goes a long way. Number 3, mainstream sounding. This one is one that's kind of not mind-blowing to anybody. Kind of going along with the first point as well, in terms of you don't pick what you're known for, in a sense. Hate to say it, the more simple, the more mainstream sounding a song is, and I'm just gonna word that very generally because it depends upon the genre, the better off it does, right? Like, I mean, I have some songs I've spent, like, in my opinion, the best song I've made up until this point, if you have to ask me, which some people do, when it comes to these 300 plus records, is a song called Cellar Door. It was a 15-minute, already long song, 15 minutes, orchestral arrangement I did with over 100 instruments, elements, vocal. This song literally took like a month of like working on it every day. It was a lot. That song went nowhere, right? Did not do that well whatsoever. It's an orchestral song. It's classical. It's a lot of music theory, and whatnot. But a song like St. Patrick's Day, which is very mainstream sounding, or other songs that I've made that are very mainstream sounding, boom, blow up when there's not that much work that goes into them, right? And of course, I think having some kind of a blend is, of course, the holy grail, right? Having a song that's really well made, that shows off your chops as a musician or a producer, but also does appeal to the mainstream, is really hard to do, but it can be done. I think Swedish House Mafia is a good example of this. I feel like Skrillex, talking about the EDM world, is a good example of this. I think Diplo, when it comes to beats and rhythms, he's really good with that. Like, so it can happen, but I think one thing I will say is remember that you don't pick what you're known for and whatnot. And sometimes things that do appeal to the masses do really well. Take by St. Patrick's Day song again as another example, just because it is my most popular song right now for me, that even though, yeah, the titling and the artwork definitely are the main reason why it blew up. I'll be honest. The song also is very mainstream sounding. Like it's like an Irish EDM song that's very easy, that even if you don't like EDM, you're like, oh, I can F with this, right? I can listen to it even if I don't like EDM. And this is true. And this is probably not mind-blowing to any artist, anybody probably watching this video, that it is true that things that are more mainstream sounding just perform better. And it's kind of unfortunate. Like, in my opinion, one of, if not the best producer I think on the planet right now is Tipper. I will say he is, at the time of this video, doing his kind of like last few shows. Hopefully I can catch him at Red Rocks next month at the time of this video in September. But it's his last few shows ever. And I think if someone had to ask me, what do you think is like the best producer? I'd say probably Tipper. I almost call it production porn, where the better I've gotten at producing, the more when I listen to his stuff, I'm like, this is legit ridiculous. I don't know how he does what he does, right? But here's the thing. It's very experimental. I might even call his music like glitchy, psychedelic drum and bass, experimental stuff. I don't know. There's not really like a term I'd use. I think experimental would be the only kind of one-size-fits-all thing I'd use. But here's the thing. I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's not something that would ever appear on the radio. It's not a mainstream thing that will just blow up and everyone, and that's just kind of unfortunate. And keep in mind that love it or hate it, again, this is the kind of harsh reality, and I feel like a lot of the things I'm saying on this video are very harsh realities. And I think this is true not just for the music world, but any kind of creative field, that sometimes the most mainstream, the most easily digestible for the general public is what really blows up. Number 4, post everywhere. I say this because this is almost like a two-parter, kind of the same thing, that it's interesting that different songs do better or worse on different platforms. That's very interesting. Now, for me, I look at my releasing strategy in multiple different parts. But the first one is I release it on DistroKid. The good thing about DistroKid, like most independent music distributors, you send it to DistroKid, they put it on 100 plus different stores, from Apple Music, Rdio, Deezer, Tidal, the list goes on and on. So I do that once, it goes everywhere. Then I'll post it on SoundCloud. Then I'll usually post it on YouTube manually. I'll upload the video. I've done videos about this, that yes, there is an auto-generated video that gets put on YouTube, but you should also manually upload your own song as a video as well. Maybe I'll put it on Bandcamp. For me, I haven't really had a lot of success though with Bandcamp. And then I might do social media marketing. So then I'll go to, let's say, TikTok. I'll do a video on TikTok, or maybe Instagram or whatever, right? So that's kind of my very quickly summed up kind of strategy. But here's the thing. You don't really know how things are going to perform. There are some songs that are some of the most popular songs, like say on Amazon Music, that do really well on Amazon Music, that don't do well at all on Spotify, which is kind of weird, and vice versa. There are some songs that I've released that did so well on YouTube, just blew up on YouTube Music, not really any other platform. And yes, there are a handful of mine that have done well everywhere, because things do get cross-promoted and cross-network, like St. Patrick's Day, like I mentioned. Lionel Messi's another big one. Queen's Gambit, which is one of my songs that I made. It's kind of like a hip-hop instrumental record, or I guess there are some vocals, but more of like a hip-hop beat. Trying to think of the Bass Fire, like I mentioned. So there are some songs that, yeah, these do well on every platform because those are my most popular songs overall. But there are some other ones that, for some reason, do really well. Like there's one I did. It was I made a song called Cobra Kai, and I did 3 different versions of it. The original, and I had 2 other ideas. So I was like, maybe I'll package this as kind of like an EP/single where it's Cobra Kai, the dubstep VIP, or the dubstep version of it, let me call it that, and then the house version of it. For some reason, the dubstep version of my song Cobra Kai did really well on Amazon. That's one of the most popular songs on Amazon Music. Didn't really do well anywhere else. And this is an interesting thing that you might notice, that sometimes some songs perform better or worse on different platforms. Again, especially after releasing 300 plus songs, there are some songs that I'm just like, how does this one song on this one platform get so much attention, but nowhere else? So that's why I say put your music everywhere. I know this sounds very cliche when it comes to any kind of marketing strategy, but you never know how things are going to kind of take off. Like I said a bunch of times throughout this video, If it wasn't for TikTok, I don't think my St. Patrick's Day song would have gotten the attention that it did. But because of the way social media works, now things can quickly, I guess in a positive way, snowball. It did. You never know what's going to perform better or worse on different platforms. So put your stuff everywhere. Number 5, luck. I've not really talked about luck at all on this channel yet. I feel like I'd want to do a dedicated video about this. But there's 2 different things I am going to say about luck. The first, which is a quote from Tim Ferriss, a famous entrepreneur. He said that a lot of what I'm going to call simple-minded people or average thinkers, they overestimate luck. They're like, oh, he just got lucky. She just got lucky. They just got lucky. They look at this luck as, they look at luck as this main determining factor. Like, oh, they just got lucky. Not seeing all the stuff they did behind the scenes to make what they did work, right? Like an overnight success takes 10 years, that kind of stuff. But then on the other end, he said, creative people, big dreamers, big thinkers, entrepreneurs, underestimate how important luck is. That whether you love it or hate it, luck is a factor. Luck is something. And I think a lot of people like, oh, I didn't get lucky. I didn't get lucky. They didn't get lucky, blah, blah, blah. Both things are true. In the music world, in the acting world, in a lot of creative industries, luck is a big factor. Luck is a big factor. And the second thing I want to say about luck, which is actually from another entrepreneur, one of the most famous investors of all time, Chris Sacca, he said, I may have gotten lucky, but it wasn't by accident. And I think that is a good way to look at it, because if you look at a lot of musicians, and I'm not going to try to say any names, because I feel like when you say, oh, they got lucky, it sounds negative. Like there's a certain negative connotation, a little like shade that you're throwing when you're like, I just got lucky. But both things are true in the music industry. People are very successful and who are super famous in the music industry both did get lucky, but also did work super hard. They both are lucky, but also both talented. And I think one thing you realize at the end of the day when it comes to the music world is there is a huge element of luck to it. Sometimes a lot of it is in being in the right place at the right time, but also with the right execution, with the right talent, with the right work ethic, and a lot more. And love it or hate it, that's the way things work, right? And I think some people like to think, oh man, like they just got lucky or luck doesn't exist. People like to, like Tim Ferriss said, underestimate luck, but it is a factor. And I will say for me, I've gotten lucky that sometimes I just did things right place, right time, right execution to be there. Like, you know, for a lot of my songs, like I've talked about in a lot of videos, I have studied SEO, search engine optimization, because of YouTube. And the title of my song, sometimes I'll spend a good hour looking at charts and analytics to title my song the exact right title, because I know that title will perform good on TikTok when it comes to the search engine, or the musical search engine, if I word it like that, or on YouTube or anywhere else. And I noticed that now, we're about more than halfway through 2025, a lot of artists now are doing that. I'm not saying that's because of me. But like I've mentioned that in a lot of videos as a marketing technique. But I have noticed that a lot of artists now have realized, man, if I title my song something just very plain, like St. Patrick's Day, Halloween, if I title my song after a famous actress, for example, I don't know, whatever the case is, the song is more likely to blow up. So let's say if I release that St. Patrick's Day song today, I don't know if it would have done as well, because when I do look at search engines and do some analytics testing, there's a million songs now literally called St. Patrick's Day. I'm not saying they're trying to copy me per se. Maybe they just, thought the same thing. Like, oh, maybe if I call it St. Patrick's Day, people will see it. I may have gotten lucky then. 2018 when I released it, and it got indexed way earlier, and the way indexing works and SEO works, because that song now has kind of found its place in a lot of search engines and social media platforms and streaming platforms know that when people search St. Patrick's Day, when they search it, they're more likely than not looking for my song. So I think it just came in early. Sometimes being the first does have an impact, especially when it comes to SEO and indexing. And I got lucky, right? And you look at a lot of these other artists, again, I'm not going to say names, that they were right place, right time, right execution. And love it or hate it, and then again, this is a very unfortunate thing, that in the music world, like a lot of other industries, luck is important. And, with the 300 plus records I've released, love it or hate it, luck does have an impact. There's a lot of other factors too, but luck is one to determine which one of those records happen to get attention and which ones don't. And now a bonus point, a bonus thing that I've learned after releasing 300 plus records, things that I wish I knew looking back in hindsight and whatnot, marketing's important. Yeah, and I think that a lot of musicians don't like to hear this because they're like, oh no, I just want to make really good stuff. Back in the day, if you if you talk to a lot of older people in the industry, they might say like, oh, like the cream rises to the top. The concept being if you make good stuff, people will eventually hear it. If you make good stuff, people will hear it. Not the case. Maybe back in the day it was, not the case anymore. There's something like 50 plus thousand songs uploaded to Spotify every day. Every day. So breaking through the noise is very difficult. Like I said, there's a lot of different elements, the luck, the packaging, all this kind of stuff that I've talked about in this video. And so one big aspect of being a musician now, if you're trying to be a musician, a DJ, producer, whatever, is marketing is important. Making those TikTok videos that you might hate to make does have an impact. Being big on Twitter, being big on Instagram, like doing YouTube videos, whatever the case is. Marketing, if anything, I think right now is maybe even more important because as you can imagine, at the end of the day, the music business is a business. Mark Cuban has called it the worst business, period. Probably not wrong, obviously. But, when it comes to if you look at nightclubs, booking venues, concerts, etc., the goal of them is this: put butts in seats or have people buy tickets, right? That's the goal. And if you have a big following, that's going to do well. And this is why, for love or hate it, take the EDM world, which obviously I know a lot about. You look at these influencers who've turned DJs or famous celebrities who've turned DJs, and a lot of people get mad. I mean, like, wait a minute, this one influencer got a residency in Vegas. He or she doesn't even DJ. They don't even make EDM. They don't even make music. They're not even a musician. I've been doing this for X amount of years. Why did they get it, not me? But here's the thing, love it or hate it, they have a big following. They can sell more tickets than you can. Are they a worse musician than you? Probably. Are they a worse producer than you? Maybe. Are they somebody who maybe doesn't do as good of a show as you? Do you have way better showmanship and stage presence? Maybe that's true too. But can they sell more tickets than you? Yes. And again, at the end of the day, marketing and these kind of things are all things that kind of come into play into this music wheel and this music business that it is an unfortunate, harsh truth. And again, this video, I feel like, is a lot of harsh truths that when it comes to releasing all these records that I have, there is also a lot of marketing that goes into it, which is why I highly suggest watch the marketing videos that I've posted. I have a few listed below in the description about different music marketing techniques, especially for independent musicians. I have videos about, like, say, YouTube SEO, how to optimize your music releases on YouTube to help them blow up in the algorithm, and a lot more.